Imagine someone wired $100,000 into your bank account today. No taxes, no catch. It's yours. What's the first thing you buy? A nicer car? A bigger house? Maybe the vacation you've been putting off for years. Most people have an answer within a few seconds. And that's exactly why most people never become wealthy. Because the first thing you buy with money quietly determines whether that money makes you look rich or become rich. Those are two completely different destinations, and almost nobody realizes they are heading toward the wrong one until they have been traveling for a very long time. By the end of this video, you will understand why people who build lasting wealth make a completely different first purchase, and why the instinct that just fired in your brain when you heard $100,000, the one that produced an answer in seconds, is the same instinct that keeps most people performing wealth instead of building it. But first, you need to understand where that instinct actually came from, because it is much older than money. For most of human history, status was survival. You did not live in a city of millions. You lived in a tribe of maybe 150 people, and in that tribe, your position mattered enormously. Higher status meant more resources, more safety, more opportunity, more of everything that kept you alive and kept your family alive. The brain that sought status, that worked to signal value to the people around it, survived. The brain that did not care what others thought often did not. So your brain learned, deeply, evolutionarily, to care almost desperately about how you appear to the people around you. That brain is still running inside you, right now. In a world that looks nothing like the tribe it evolved for, when you heard $100,000, your ancient brain immediately started calculating status. What could I buy that would signal arrival? What would tell the people around me that I have made it? You are not shallow for having that instinct. You are not weak. You are ancient. Your brain is running software designed for a tribe of 150 people in a city of 8 million on an app that shows you the highlight reel of everyone you have ever met. It was not built for this. It is doing its best. But here is where it gets interesting, because somewhere along the way, something figured out how to monetize that ancient instinct, and it has been doing so very successfully ever since. Luxury brands did not accidentally become luxury brands. They understood something about human psychology before most humans understood it about themselves. A Rolex does not keep better time than a $50 watch. A Louis Vuitton bag does not carry things more effectively than a bag that costs a fraction of the price. A BMW does not get you to work faster than a Toyota. But here is the insight that most people never fully examine. Luxury only works if other people recognize it. A Rolex in a room full of people who have never heard of Rolex is just a watch. Its value, its psychological value, the reason people pay for it, exists entirely in other people's minds, not in the object, in the recognition. Status is not something you own. It is something other people grant you, and the entire luxury industry is built on selling you objects that trigger that granting. Objects that say, to the people around you, in the language of brands and price tags and visible signals, that you have arrived. Think about what that actually means. You are spending real money, money that could be building real wealth, to produce a feeling that exists in other people's heads. Not yours, theirs. You are paying for their perception of you, and the perception fades, the payment does not. But here's the part that nobody calculates, and when you see the actual number, it changes how you think about every visible purchase you have ever made or considered making. You buy a car, not the most expensive one, just a nice one, $48,000, financed over 5 years. The monthly payment feels manageable. You tell yourself you earned it. And honestly, maybe you did. But here's the calculation that almost never gets made at the dealership. $48,000 invested at 7% average annual return, the historical stock market average adjusted for inflation, over 30 years. That $48,000 becomes approximately $365,000. Not from doing anything. Not from picking the right stock or timing the market or making a clever decision. Just from the passage of time and the mathematics of compound growth. The car costs $48,000 up front, but its actual cost, what economists call opportunity cost, is $365,000 over the course of your working life. $365,000 for a car that becomes just your car within 3 months of buying it. The dealership never puts that number on the sticker, understandably. And this is before we account for insurance, maintenance, depreciation, and the fact that the car loses approximately 20% of its value the moment you drive it off the lot. The visible purchase is almost always significantly more expensive than the price tag suggests. The price tag is just the entry fee, but the financial cost is actually not the most dangerous part of the visible purchase. The most dangerous part is what happens 3 months after you make it. You remember the feeling when you first drove it home? The smell, the way it handled, the glance from the person in the next lane at the traffic light. You felt something real, something that felt like arrival. 3 months later, it is just your car. You stop noticing it. Your neighbors stop noticing it. The colleagues who raised an eyebrow the first week have long since moved on to something else. The feeling that felt like arrival, gone. Completely, silently, inevitably adapted to. But the payment is still there, every single month. Unchanged, unadapted. Quietly extracting $800 from your life long after the feeling that justified it has completely disappeared. This is called hedonic adaptation, and it applies to almost every visible purchase you will ever make. The brain adjusts to improvements faster than anyone expects. The new apartment becomes just your apartment. The upgraded wardrobe becomes just your clothes. The expensive restaurant becomes just somewhere you go. The feeling fades, the cost does not. But there is a second part to this trap that is even more dangerous than the adaptation: the status debt loop. The first visible purchase does not just cost money. It changes expectations, yours and everyone around you. You bought the BMW. Your friends now picture you as someone who drives a BMW. Anything less feels like a step backward. The next holiday needs to match the car. The apartment needs to match the holiday. The wardrobe needs to match the apartment. The first visible purchase quietly raises the floor of your entire life. And now you are not just maintaining a car payment, you are maintaining an identity, an image, a performance that requires constant funding and gets more expensive every time the audience's expectations adjust upward. This is the trap that the $100,000 instinct leads almost everyone into, not through recklessness, through the completely natural human process of becoming the person your purchases say you are. But something different happens for people who build genuine financial freedom, and it starts with a realization that changes everything. At some point, something changes, not dramatically, not through a sudden revelation or a life-changing book or a conversation that rearranged everything. Just quietly, internally, the way important things usually shift. You stop needing strangers to think you are wealthy, not because you became minimalist or philosophical or indifferent to quality, but because something in your financial life has grown to the point where it became its own source of confidence. Your net worth does not require an audience. The investment account growing quietly in the background, nobody sees it. Nobody grants you status for it. You cannot wear it or park it outside a restaurant or post it on Instagram. It produces no external signal whatsoever. And yet, it changes how you move through the world in a way that no visible purchase ever did. Because it is real, not performed, not dependent on other people's recognition, not subject to hedonic adaptation, not maintained by a monthly payment. Just real, growing, quietly doing something while you go about your life. The people who reach this point consistently describe the same experience. The performance becomes unnecessary. The ancient brain that spent years calculating status signals, it quiets. Not because status stopped mattering, but because the internal source of confidence became stronger than the external one. And the money that was funding the performance starts building something instead. Net worth does not require an audience. That is the whole secret, hidden in plain sight. Available to anyone. Chosen by almost nobody. And here is what genuinely wealthy people actually look like from the outside. It is not what most people expect. Someone spills coffee on your shirt 10 minutes before an important meeting. If you are performing wealth, this is a crisis. The shirt costs $200, the image is disrupted, the morning is derailed, your mood shifts, the meeting feels compromised before it starts. If you have built genuine financial margin, you laugh. You grab another shirt or you go as you are. Because nothing important actually changed. The meeting is still the meeting. The relationship is still the relationship. The opportunity is still there. That is what calm looks like when it is real. Not a personality trait, not a meditation practice. A financial position that makes most disruptions genuinely unimportant. Now contrast that with this. An $800 car repair bill arrives on a Wednesday. Unexpected, badly timed. For the person whose lifestyle is fully funded by their income, this is a week-altering event. The anxiety is immediate. The mental calculations start. What gets moved? What gets delayed? Who might need to know? The repair bill does not just cost $800. It costs the mental peace of an entire week. For the person who built the buffer, it is inconvenient. And then it is paid. And then it is over. Same bill, completely different experience of it. The actual signals of genuine wealth are almost entirely invisible. Not the car, not the watch, not the apartment. Just time, calm. The ability to be unbothered by the things that unsettle almost everyone else. The person who is never rushed, who makes decisions without checking their balance first, who can say no without explaining why. These are the markers. None of them are for sale. All of them are built, quietly, over time, while other people were funding the performance. Back to the $100,000. The answer that fired in your brain in the first few seconds, the car, the house, the holiday. That was your ancient brain doing exactly what it evolved to do. Calculating status, seeking signals, trying to tell the tribe something. There is nothing wrong with that instinct. But the people who build lasting wealth, the ones who eventually stop checking their balance before they make a decision, they learn to ask a different question. Not, what does this say about me? But what does this build for me? The visible purchase says something to the room. For a few months. Then it says nothing because everyone adapted, including you. And the payment stays. The quiet purchase says nothing to anyone, ever. It just builds. Silently. Without an audience. Without adaptation. Without a monthly reminder of what it cost. Looking rich is a performance. Being rich is a position. The performance needs an audience to exist. The position does not. And the $100,000 question reveals, in a few honest seconds, which one your brain has been preparing you for. The good news is that the brain that got you here can also get you somewhere completely different. It just needs a different question to answer first.